Hey everyone, so real quick, the content creator support actually refreshed. So if you did not extend your support and you want to continue supporting my channel, you have to go back in and re-support. So you got to go in and you got to look up my name under the supporter category here, connect with a creator, and then type in Zep YouTube. If you do that, then you can continue your support for me if you want to. Just wanted to throw it out there. So thanks again. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another King Arthur Legends Rise video. So today, guys, we're taking a second look at Gilroy. Second look here because the game released his Storm Relic, and you could get it if you spent 4,000 stamina, which I think is certainly worth it. Being able to spend some stamina just to get a legendary relic, certainly worth it. I know it's a lot. However, you can do any kind of task in the game. So your normal farming or whatever can happen. I think if you want to take it in strides throughout 5 or 6 days, you can, because you still have 4 days left. But if you do all of the stamina event, you can get his Storm Relic for free, and his Storm Relic is the best one. So we're going to talk about him today, see if he's still worth pulling, and kind of just give you my opinion. Now, I ended up figuring out what this Heartless Decay actually does, so we'll show that. Healing Decay, sorry. It is pretty cool, but it's hard to activate, kind of like you really need this on a 2-turn. You need this up for 2 turns, so the third passive is pretty important. I have the first and the second passive fully leveled up. We do not have him awakened 6-star, so we can't put a banner on him, so his damage is still even limited a bit here, because I'd certainly get a little more crit damage. So with his Storm Relic, he gets a couple different things. So from his Frost Relic, he had 100% charge to the attack gauge, and he got effect accuracy and attack speed, which are okay. And then you increase the recovery disruption duration by 1. That's okay. On the Storm Relic, though, he gets crit rate increase 3, which is way better, because then you only need to build him with 40% crit rate if you're able to manual him, right? If you are just using him on auto, you're just going to be spamming his S3. So the attack gauge boost is less than the Frost one, but you get a better buff with the crit rate. Then, from his Frost Relic, you had an AoE recovery disruption damage dealing ability, which was not good. The amount of damage that it did, like the multipliers, aren't nice. However, on the Frost Relic, these damage multipliers are very good. So we're going to compare him, to some people like Bedivere or whatever. I've been pretty impressed with his damage. And then the Heartless, I keep saying the wrong, Healing Decay is actually a really good debuff, but it's hard to time. So with that being said, like I said, these are his stats. If you guys want to look at Bedivere's stats, these are Bedivere's stats. So, like, all of my heroes have terrible gear. They're not they're not optimized at all. But I think Bedivere does have better gear on him. But let's just go in here and give her a test. Okay, so we will put Bedivere in the front. We'll bring Morgan in here. We'll give her her Frost Relic. I know a lot of people don't have the Frost Relic, but we're going to showcase it anyway. Okay, and then we'll bring in our Turin for a little sustainability. All right, so most of his damage comes into play whenever the opponent has recovery disruption up. So you have to get the recovery disruption up on the boss first. You can do this with the Healing Decay, which is something that we're going to try and do. Now, this is on a 2-turn cooldown, and it's only up for 1 turn. If we're able to land the Healing Decay and then loop back around to the S2, you can then increase the duration of it. However, if you did have this fully leveled up, this would be up for 2 turns, and this would be a lot easier to do than hoping to get an attack speed increase and all those things. But thankfully, we have a Frost Morgan, so the Morgan can actually, she can boost the attack gauge of somebody with her S3. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the Healing Decay because we should get our Vigor recharged by +2. His damage here is not going to be very significant because the boss doesn't have any debuffs on him, and he's got increased defense. But the animation's pretty cool. He goes in there and then he just like slams them. So he puts up the Healing Decay, and you see here that our Vigor was recharged by 2. So that's pretty nice. So this is where the boss does get rid of the Healing Decay, which is what I was saying, like the 2 turns is pretty important. But I think we will be able to time this correctly whenever he goes into hibernation, because that's whenever the Healing Decay matters. So we're just going in, getting up our recovery disruption, and then hopefully we'll loop back around to this here in a second. Okay. We're continuing to just do these things to the boss, chip them away. And then I think we'll S2 here. Just kind of shake up the turn order on the boss. Okay, perfect. So what we're going to do, he's going to land the Healing Decay. Then Morgan's going to boost his turn meter so we can loop back around to him. So we'll boost him up. Now, this is where Healing Decay is really cool. So the way that it's worded is weird. But the way you should see this is whenever the boss goes into hibernation here, what ends up happening is whenever he comes out of his hibernation, he will heal based on all of the damage that you did to him unless he has recovery disruption. Now, what Healing Decay does is it kind of reverses it. If you have Healing Decay up, all of the damage that you do to the boss that he would have healed will then end up dealing damage to him. So that is very strong. So what you want to do is you want to get the Healing Decay up, and then you're going to start doing all of these crazy smacks. So we're doing really good damage with Bedivere. This is where we're going to extend the Healing Decay because we want the Healing Decay to be up after the boss has 2 turns of hibernation. Because if this were to fall off now, all of the damage that we're doing wouldn't matter. All right, so he'll get 1 more turn, and we're actually going to S2 again just so we can get behind Morgan and show you the amount of damage output that he can do. Okay, so he's got the defense down and the damage taken. They have the Healing Decay up, which counts as recovery disruption. And on his 3rd attack, he deals additional damage of 177% attack. So let's see what he can do here. It's pretty good damage. I've seen it. So he goes in. Here's the big smack. And pretty good chunk. Pretty good chunk. And there's the Healing Decay as well. Now you'll see after Bedivere goes, or actually after Turing goes, whenever the boss snaps out of hibernation, all the damage that was done because of Healing Decay will deal damage to him. And I think this is where a lot of the value comes in. However, like I said, it's kind of like hard to time this. So on an auto state, I don't know how this is going to go. It's probably much better for something like, oh, here it is. See, 66,000 damage. That is from the Healing Decay. So big damage, right? Big damage. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm somewhat impressed with his damage output, but other than the fact that it's kind of hard to loop around to, is tough. As well as, I don't have him built in 100% crit rate. I have him in 40%, so I'd have to loop back around to, his S2 and then go into his S3 or something like that, which is not very, like I said, auto-friendly. So yeah, we'll kind of just finish this out and, yeah, kind of finish up the video. So I'm glad that I figured out what the healing decay did, because I was just like, what the heck does this do? It's not doing any damage, but finally figured it out. So it's good that I did. But we'll see how much damage he does at the end here. But I figured that was going to be useful for, some people who wanted to know that, especially whenever I didn't do a very good job on it on my first video. So I apologize for that, guys. But hey, I am not perfect. Okay, so the healing decay goes up again. We are going to try and loop back around to him just so we can extend it so we can do the additional damage. Oh, that was actually... Oh, that might have been the recovery disruption. I don't know. Anyway, hopefully this finishes the fight. If that's not healing decay, then it is what it is. Okay, it wasn't. All right, so this fight will be finished here soon. But as you see, like, without the healing decay up or recovery disruption, his Storm Relic still doesn't do a whole lot. So you really need to have the healing disruption on a 2-turn. You can pair him with somebody like Akalon or whatever that has a longer healing decay / recovery disruption for him to maximize the damage. But I still think Bedivere outdamages him, which I'm sure is not surprising to basically anyone. But I do think this is a much better version of Gilroy. So if you want a Gilroy, if you like this healing decay recovery disruption thing, if you don't have Bedivere, he's probably a decent option. So yeah, I don't know. I'm glad that they did this though. And I think you should get the Relic even if you don't pull Gilroy, just to have it, because if you ever do pull him, you're going to want to use him. So yeah, you see here, I don't know if the damage from Bedivere is calculated into that big healing decay damage that we saw. I would think that would be tied to Gilroy, but I just don't know how the game calculates that. So that's something. Now, other people that you can pair him up with, if you don't have Bedivere and you want him to be like your main damage dealer, I think this hero here as an uncommon is really good. What's this person's name? Argus. So Argus on his first passive, whenever he's attacking, he can inflict recovery disruption for 3 turns. So that's always going to be up. So you're going to be maximizing the large amount of damage that Gilroy can do. Okay, so I do have a little bit of equipment on him. Yeah, I can't really showcase him. Anyway, that's what I wanted to show, guys. I do think, he's much better now. Whether or not he's supposed to be good enough to pull, I don't know. That's up for you guys to decide, but I did just want to showcase what he could do now. I appreciate you watching, and I will catch you on the next one. See ya.